Hello everyone, this is Crustlemania and welcome back to another video. So first off, I want to preference this video as I'm going to be looping some of the same footage in the beginning of this video just because this is going to be quite a long story to get this video started before I get into the card show pickups. So as you'll be seeing on the screen, the two cards I brought to the card show were the Entei V and the Greninja EX that I had. And I mentioned this in one of my previous selling results videos, but the Entei, I think I got $28 worth of trade, and the Greninja, I think, was $24 worth of trade value. I brought these two cards just because the bull market was going crazy for these cards. The Greninja, I learned later, actually had a print line on the bottom, and it's really off-center, so I was figuring, I maybe can kind of let go of this card now because I wasn't really planning to keep this card. I was eventually wanting to sell it, but with the print line that the vendors were telling me, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to kind of let this card go. Because I was actually just showing the Greninja card to see if I really wanted to, but like when they were telling me there was like a print line on it, then I was like, okay, maybe it's kind of time to let this guy go because it might be a harder sell on eBay. And the Entei, like, I've had two of these in the past. One I sold to my friend and one I sold to a local seller, and I was gonna sell this one eventually just because I'm not as big of a collector, and to be quite honest, if I had any of the three Galarian dogs, it probably would be Suicune, just me honestly. But I figured this was a decent condition Entei V, but when I bought it from the Facebook Marketplace seller, he's like a stickler for grading cards. He said I didn't grade these just because like the bottom edges, there's like a little bit of like a thing going on down there where it's like not perfectly flat. There's like a little bit of imprints, but it's nothing super crazy, but it's mostly pretty centered. So I was like, okay, that's fine with me. So I figured I was gonna move the Entei at this show anyways. So I want to start off though by saying this show was crazy. So this is a local show not that far from me, and my friend and I went for the first time to this show back in July of 2024. We would go at like an hour after opening. So I think opening was like 10 o'clock, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock. We'd go at around like 11 a.m. The first time we went, nobody, no line, like outside in front. There was no line. There was just a table there with the people. Like, can I check your ticket? Cool, go inside. Really fast, really easy. Inside it was busy, but it wasn't super busy. And it kind of had less of a crowd later in the day. And the last couple shows we went to as well, there was maybe a smaller line just because Pokemon was starting to pick up. But it wasn't like a crazy line where you had to wait. This card show was insane. I mean, I thought I was at one of those big card shows or whatever. So my friend and I, we were going to park in the same spot that we normally did, but it was all filled up. So we were like, okay. So we spent a little extra time trying to find parking. So we didn't get to this card show until about 11:15, 11:20. By the time we got there, there was such a long line just to get into the show. We were like blown away. At first, I was like, am I in the right place? and then like, come to realize we were in line, and like the line stretched so far, and it took us an hour to get in. But the craziest thing was, we got there at 11:15. 11:20, and it already took an hour from that point. The line was still getting bigger from once we entered the line. Like, it just kept getting longer and longer and longer. So I think people were waiting for like maybe an hour and a half to get into this show. And we were talking to this guy while waiting in line, and we were just like, we went to this show in the past, and this guy's like, yeah, like we have too, and we've never had to wait in line before, especially not like an hour. I was like, this is insane. And by the time we waited an hour and got inside, it was like a frenzy. It was like so many people. Like, they had vendors up against the wall before. Like, I think within the first like show that my friend and I went to, and I also went to the same show by myself, it was like just vendors in the middle area. There were no vendors like up against the wall. They had the water like up against the wall inside before. This time they had the water outside, and all the vendors were all up against the wall. They used like every square inch that they had. The hotel was like freaking out because I don't think they expected so many people to be there for this card show. Like, the hotel staff, like, credit to them, like they were trying to do line control and stuff like that, and you could tell that they were very stressed and frantic because they were not expecting this many people. And it was just a crazy show, but it was quite interesting because I messaged a couple of the vendors that I met at the last show I went to with my friend at a different venue, but same kind of show, just asking them about the cards and kind of what their buy sell rate is. And I ran into a couple of the vendors there, and like a couple of them recognized me, and they were like, "Hey, nice to see you again." I was like, "Oh shoot, man, what's up?" Like, so I did a couple deals with a couple of them. Some of them I just said like hi to, like, I remember a certain card that you had at your kind of table, like that was cool and stuff like that. But I did end up buying a lot more cards than I initially thought. So these two cards ended up being traded for. And the show, my friend and I stayed for the whole day. Like, we pretty much left at around like 4:30. Actually, no, we left at 5 o'clock because my friend was making a deal to buy a card at 5 o'clock. Like, and like the show ended, but he was still making a deal at like 5 o'clock, and people were still there. So it was kind of crazy. I thought they would have kicked us out, but I guess they couldn't really kick us out. People were starting to pack up, but they couldn't really kick everybody out. So like, my friend actually bought a card at the very last moment, so we were actually maximized like the full time there. But I ended up getting about 25 cards, and then I also did some trades for my friend. So as you'll see here, I'll show it off like kind of early on right now. So basically, my friend, I got him the Glaceon VStar and the Zearora VMax. These are the two cards I showed in like the selling results video in the past. I got these two cards for him from that Facebook Marketplace seller, and then right after the show, we did some trades, and he put some money on top just for some of the cards he didn't want anymore, and I was like, I'll take them off your hands. So he ended up getting these cards. The total, I think, was about like 27, but with trades, I think it came out to be around, oh man, oh no, sorry, it was like 34 because it was combined with the two of them. Came down to like $20 because I did some trades with him for some smaller cards he didn't really need, and I was like, maybe I could sell these on eBay or something, and maybe I'll have a little bit extra inventory on there. So these two cards ended up going to him. So it was like buy trade. It was kind of like a sell trade kind of deal with that there. So honestly, I'm really glad these two cards went to a really good home. And that day was just pretty crazy because like I had the initial deals in the morning, and then I had this last deal with my friend before like he went home that day. And it was kind of a crazy overall card show day, but wanted to show these two cards. So in a sense, I traded two cards, and then I did a sell and trade for two cards on the card show day. So now I will be showing the cards that I picked up, and I'm recording this about a couple weeks after the actual card show. So before I even get into revealing the cards, I want to mention that one of the cards I picked up kind of multiple copies of for myself, because I didn't know this card was going to get pumped really hard in this bull market, was the Arctibax full art card. When I got that card, it was only $6.50, I think, at the card show. I got two for $6.50, I think one for like $6. This card right now, as of me recording this video, is up to like $32, at least on TCG Player, and people are selling them on eBay for like 40, 50 bucks, which is insane. Like, I didn't even buy this card to like sell it right away. I bought this card because I was like, oh, it's kind of a goofy art. Maybe I'll keep it, hold it, and maybe one day it'll go up, like in like maybe sometime this year, or maybe within the next 2-3 years. Like, we'll see. Like, I'll just hold this one for now and see what happens. I didn't expect for that card to shoot up as much as it did. So that is like insanely crazy, but that is not something I predicted. So I'm not trying to say I'm pumping the market for these cards. And you'll see as well, like I bought like 4 Pyroars. I just like the art for that card, and I figure that one will go up one day, but not anytime soon. But I just like the art for that card, but in no way, shape, or form was I trying to pump any of these cards. I just thought they were pretty interesting cards. There were like a few cards in my mind that I got from buying in the past, that I was like, I'll buy these specific cards because one, the art looks nice, two, people may like it down the road, and three, it looks nice to me. So I was like, I'm familiar with it, I'll pick it up and see what happens with it down the road. So it was kind of a more risky thing to do, but I was like, I'll give it a shot and see where it goes from there, because worst comes to worst, I get to kind of enjoy these cards. So I kind of was shooting for cards I thought were interesting, and a couple cards, to be quite honest. I'll say Mimic Brew mentioned in a couple of his videos, and like I was like, okay, I'll maybe look out for maybe a couple of these. But he gave me the idea, but I didn't go full send on it. I didn't buy everything that I saw that he kind of recommended in one of his, I think, was it hottest cards of the week? No, it might have been his special illustration rare video. I can't really remember which one at this point, but here are all the cards. So I think with trades with my friend, I had about 29, but I also picked up a card for him too. So this is the first card from one vendor. It's the Mimikyu, and I've gotten quite a few of these at this card show. So the Vibravia, this is one of the cards from Searching Sparks. Really nice art. And this is one of the ones Mimic Brew kind of influenced for me. The Braviary, especially, for sure. This one was really nice. So very nice card there. Pyroar, as I mentioned, I bought 4 of these. Wasn't really trying to pump the market. It's just like I was going to maybe sell these off slowly in the future, but I really did like the art of this card. So I bought 4 of these. And all of these cards were from the Greninja. So I traded the Greninja, put money on top. So the Arctibax here, this is my first one I got from this vendor. This card shot up like crazy right now. Another Crickitude from Galarian Gallery. Familiar with this card, so decided to pick that up. This Noctowl card, I've sold 2 of these, and I got 2 from the same vendor. I think from the same vendor I got it last time. So I got 2 more Noctowls, and they had Ammonite, so I picked up 2 Ammonites from that vendor just because I'm familiar with the Ammonite full art, and I actually am a fan of the Ammonite Pokemon, and you'll figure that out in another video. So that's from one vendor. Absol EX came from the second or third vendor I talked to, so I got this card from him. I got 3 cards in total, and then the 2 Arctibaxes. And I did some negotiations for these Arctibaxes, and I may mention that later if I remember in this video. But these are the 2 Arctibaxes. And then that was this vendor. And then this vendor I traded the Entei for, and I got another Radiant Eevee. I paid a little bit more than I did in the past, but this vendor was really cool. He gave me a pretty decent deal on it. I got a 151 full art Poliwhirl, so this is my second one, I think. And I got another Charizard GX. So I traded the Entei and put $1 on top. So that was all for like $29 trade and stuff like that. So, and then the last vendor, I bought 3 promo Mimikyus from that vendor just because I've sold the Mimikyus in the past. These aren't the Pokemon Center ones, the regular ones, but I negotiated for these ones too. And so I ended up getting 4 Mimikyus as well. I guess I didn't really mean to pump that card either. I just liked that card. But this is the trade cards I got from my friends. So the Ditto full art was actually from a previous time for the Deoxys VStar. Pikachu full art from Crown Zenith's Galarian Gallery. Tyranitar, I think it's from Obsidian Flames. Charizard V-Star from Crown Zenith. I know this card pretty well. In the past, I've sold one. Rayquaza VMax is a smaller card. Nothing crazy there. Jolteon VMax, I thought this one was interesting. And my friend gave me a card on the house, this Urshifu V. You know, if you guys think I should do a giveaway, I was thinking about giving away this card. Don't know how the logistics would work yet, but that is an idea I have. Let me know what you think. But these are all the cards that I picked up from the show. And I picked up actually a Crobat for my friend from the vendor, but he paid me back. And I sold it to him for what I bought it for. Just because cards at the show go by fast. I bought it from this vendor. But look at all the cards I got from this vendor. $24, I think, was the Greninja, and I put maybe 20 or 30 more on top. I don't remember exactly. This was about $15. I got about $6.50 each for the Arctibax, and Absol EX was $2, I think. This was like $29 total. The Radiant Eevee I know was higher, so the guy gave me a pretty good cut on there. Mimikyus I got for about $6, I think, 2 each. And then the trades was what I mentioned earlier, was the residual of, well, I think it was about $15 in trade I did to my friend for all these smaller cards. So nothing too crazy there, but honestly, it was a pretty interesting card show. I picked up a lot just because I figured I would pick up a lot at this show because I probably won't be going to another show for a while, and I'm not even sure when I'm going to have time to go to the LGS store as I've been a lot busier. But the Vibravia and Braviaries cards, I really like them, and I was looking for the Surging Sparks cards just because I made a comment on one of Mimikru's videos, and he said, you know, the Surging Sparks illustration rares are kind of underrated, so I was looking for some of those. So the Vibravia I thought was really cool, and the Braviary I thought was a really cool one as well. The Arctibaxes, I had no clue we're going to get boosted up in terms of value so quickly, so that was kind of, it looks like a smart move now, but I did not think of that at the time. The Radiant Eevee, I picked it up for about 12 bucks because the vendor guy, he's really cool. I did a deal with him last time when I got the Greninja. He was helping his other vendor friend because he didn't have a table, so he was helping him vend. I got the Greninja from him, so he gave me a cut for like Poliwhirl at 12, Eevee at 12, and Charizard GX was at 6, which I think is at like market value, which I was kind of okay with. And he got the Entei from there. And the Mimikyus, they wanted, I think, 3, and I got them down to 2 each, so that was pretty cool. And then the Arctibaxes were charged for $750 initially, and then I did some negotiating, got down to about $650 each. And the vendor was pretty funny afterwards. He's like, bro, I just slapped the stickers on. I didn't actually know the full value of these Arctibaxes. I was like, all right, man, it's whatever, man. So $650, it's cool. Like, I'm cool with that. So, and then the trade cards for my friend were really great. So overall, I think I had about 30 cards total, including my friend's trade. And the Crobat V that I got from the trainer gallery, I bought it for him in case someone else was going to take that card. Because, long story short, the last time I was at the card show, someone was collecting trainer galleries, and if like you move away from the table, come back, someone might have already took the card. So I bought the card for my friend because he was almost close to finishing his trainer gallery collection. So I wanted him to have that card before anyone else would take it, because people just kind of can take it, you know, it's an open card show. So anyways, this card show was really crazy. I'm glad I picked up these cards. I'm debating on whether to sell an Arctibax now. And we'll see kind of which cards from this pile I actually put up on my eBay page, just because eBay, I've had some interesting relations with them in terms of selling certain cards recently. So that's really interesting. But I picked up more cards than I initially thought. And at the time, I thought I spent a lot, even with the trades. I thought I spent a lot, but with the Arctibaxes right now, I look like a genius. But I really did not predict that. I really didn't want to pump the Mimikyu or the Mimic Brews, I don't know. The Mimikyus, the Arctibaxes, or the Pyroars. I just thought they were nice cards. If they sell, that's great. If they don't sell, then like I get to enjoy them for the time that I have them. So the Vibravia I think is really cool. I think it'll go up in the future, but for now I'm just enjoying them. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video. This card show was insane. I don't know if I'm going to be going to the next one because I don't want to wait an hour in line. Felt like I was at like one of those big card shows. I don't want to be there. So anyways, have a good one, everyone. Peace.